Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to another video. And before we continue this video, please, and I mean it, like and subscribe on my channel. It helps a lot and it's free. Anyways, let's get jumped into the video. So, unless you have been living under a rock recently, the Raffle event just recently happened on Hypixel Skyblock, and trust me, it was one of the biggest events we've ever had. The year 500 raffle event was insane. You had a chance to win something like the Artifact of Control, the Dark Claymore, the Divan's Powder Coating, and much more, items that were worth a lot of money. But however, some players think that this raffle event was a scam to all of us. Now, why is that? This is because you had the chance of getting many of these small items that weren't worth a lot, and these are the minor rewards. And most of the time, these players got the minor rewards that weren't worth a lot. And if you were really lucky, you could have won something like a bingo die, overflux capacitor, and much more. Now, fortunately, I was lucky enough to win a Hephaestus lucky dip, as you can see right here. But some others, they will win stuff like Aspect of the Jerry Signature Edition, or even Consolation Cake. Yes, you had the chance of winning absolutely nothing from this raffle, which is why players believe this is actually a scam. But if you're gonna ask me if this event's a scam, I will obviously tell you no. The event is not a scam. Here's the reasons. So the first reason is that we were able to get extra XP from this event. If you take a look at the wisdom, these stats, they give you more XP. And the event gave us a 50% XP boost on top of that, which is insane. Like for combat, imagine this 1.9 XP multiplier on top of that 50%. That's almost 2x XP multiplier, which is insane for spawning bosses and progressing overall. In fact, this event was so good, not only I maxed out my forging, I also finished off my enchanting and alchemy. Which really just shows that this event is extremely insane. You also got extra dungeon XP, which I didn't really take advantage of, which is kind of sad. Extra Slayer XP, which I did use a little bit. And another two buffs, the extra magic find, which increases how many rare items you find, and it makes it so easier to drop items overall. And you also have tracking, which allows you to be more likely to find elusive slash rare mobs. You might think, oh, that's not that bad. Well, yes, it's not that bad. But it can't be that good, right? How about plus 50 magic find and plus 50 tracking? Isn't that insane? Your rates are boosted. Like, people were doing Scafer mining, people were doing E-Drags. Like, the rates of most things are buffed, which is insane. Now, you might be like, oh, it's just that. It can't be that much better, right? Well, because of these buffs, more players actually willingly played the events. Like, I was able to check the Hypixel player count tracker, and on average, we were still getting a decent amount of players, but when the raffle just dropped, it hit 50k players. And on average, we probably maybe get like 30k players from what I've seen so far. That's 20k players more. You might be like, 20k isn't a lot. But if on average we get maybe like 30 or 40k, and then the release of the update gave us up almost 50k, by the way, that's like 25% more players. More players actually wanted to play Hypixel Skyblock because of these buffs. In fact, when the event dropped and I tried to play it, the servers went down. The servers were down. In fact, it was so bad that Hypixel had to extend this event by not just one day, but they extended it to today, which is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Not only we got one of the best events, but it was extended because the servers kept crashing. I think that's a pretty good deal in my eyes. Now, finally, you might be like, oh, but what about the raffle itself? Isn't the raffle itself a scam? Now, the short answer is no, again. But you might be like, oh, but so many players got consolation cake. How is it not a scam? Well, the thing is, the reason you are getting consolation cake and small rewards is because these kinds of events are luck. These are luck-based events. You're not guaranteed to get something like the Necron's handle. Literally with like 10 raffles. Like, you're not going to have that happen to you. Now, yes, it is frustrating when you enter like 100 tickets in the daily raffle just to get stupid consolation cake. That makes sense. But you can't really call the event a scam when it's literally RNG dependent. Now, you might be like, oh, I never got a medium reward. Yes, you were probably just unlucky or unfortunate enough to not get a singular reward. But that thing is, it's not you. It's not Hypixel. It's just RNG. You were selected to get that drop. And you can't complain because other players probably had at least one minor drop or they got consolation cake out of that. So you can't really blame Hypixel just because you got consolation cake or something like paint drying simulator. That's not really their fault. And that's not something they control. It's RNG dependent. And yes, this raffle event was hyped because you were able to get a lot of items, but you shouldn't really be thinking that you were gonna go into this event dropping a Necron sandal in the first place. You should have took advantage of the fact that Hypixel just turned 500 Skyblock years old, and you should be taking advantage of the buffs and the fact that it's summer right now and you should be just enjoying the game in general and not trying to get the Necron's handle every single raffle. Like, if you got that every single time, wouldn't that just feel unfair? Like, obviously, yes, the raffle is really RNG dependent and it's definitely not your fault if you only got consolation cake and minor rewards. But remember, this is an RNG event after all. It's not like you were guaranteed to get something. So hopefully that concludes the reason why the raffle event isn't a scam. And you shouldn't be taking this raffle personally, like you shouldn't be calling Simon a literal scammer just because you weren't able to get something good. Like, imagine only getting consolation cake white gift talisman, like that would be sad. So hopefully that concludes the video and tells you why this event's not a scam. And I shall see you in the next video. Peace out.